first, how do you define emotional intelligence in the context of relationships, and why is it important? Let's begin by defining it.
We define it?
Yes.
So basically what it is, if you look on Google or anywhere, it's your ability to process or to understand another person's emotions as well as your own. You cannot be able to understand another person's emotion if you're not able to understand your own.
Yes.
And what does that understanding imply? It implies that you're able to articulate why you're feeling the way you're feeling. So if you're not able to articulate the reasoning behind it,
yes,
or the cause behind it,
yes,
then you don't have emotional intelligence. You just know the term behind the emotion you're feeling.
Yes.
But because you can't be able to find the cause and articulate it, put it into context, put it in words, then you don't have the emotional intelligence.
It's a very hard balance, is it?
It is.
Why is it important to have this in relationships?
Because it helps you to understand your partner.
Yes.
It helps you to be more accommodating. It makes you more elastic in situations. Because if you understand where your partner is coming from, then you're more accommodating, you're more tolerant, you're more receptive, you're more quick to understand, you're even quicker to forgive uncomfortable situations.
Yeah.
But if you lack the understanding, then you're like a toddler.
Yes.
You're fixated on what you're not getting. You're fixated on why things are not going your way. And you're throwing tantrums and crying like a little baby.
Yes.
Because you don't have the capacity to understand, okay, this person is feeling this way.
Yeah.
And however their feeling is valid, because it's about their feelings. So you are able to separate your feelings and their feelings and the situation. And then you are able to work together around that situation. So that's why it is important.
Right. As it sounds, emotional intelligence, it could come off as complex. Can we unpack it? Do we have like elements? Do we have like types of this thing called emotional intelligence or EI?
Oh my God. Yes, we have the elements of emotional intelligence.
Yes.
We have things that can help you, or the strategies that you can use to help you to develop the emotional intelligence.
Right.
But since you've interacted with me before, you know I'm an advocate of self-awareness.
Number one with the bullets.
You have to have self-awareness.
Correct.
What is self-awareness? Self-awareness ni kujijua. And knowing yourself means that you're true and you're authentic to yourself.
Yes.
You're not lying to yourself. You're not saying that I'm kind and you know you're not. You're not saying that I'm generous and you know that you're not. So the steps towards self-awareness, number one is, first of all, understand your temperaments. I've talked about this before.
Yes.
You must differentiate between personality traits and your temperaments. So to distinguish that, for the sake of somebody who never had me before,
right,
temperaments are things that you're born with. They are scientific. You're born like that.
Yeah.
You're born a talkative person. You're born a reserved person. You're born a person who loves details. You're born that way. It's part of your genetics.
Yes.
Personality traits are things that you pick up as you grow, depending on your environment.
Correct.
If you have parents who are melancholic, phlegmatics, these are people who don't like noise, and you're a sanguine like me, they constantly tell you, shh.
Yeah. You pick that up.
You know, in the process you pick being quiet.
Yes.
And you pick to be reserved and you're not out there.
Yes.
So a temperament and a personality traits are two different things.
Correct.
One is inborn, is biological.
Yes.
The other one is socialized. You pick it as you go. So self-awareness, understand your temperament, understand your personality traits.
Yes.
Secondly, once you've understood those two things and you're able to separate them, okay, it will help you understand why you behave a certain way.
Yes.
So then it calls you to look at your pattern of behavior. All right. It calls you to ask yourself, why do I react this way? Why am I a short circuit like this? Ukinikasirisha kidogo ni mimi na wewe. Right?
Yes.
Or even if you don't go to the hard emotions like anger and bitterness and such, you look at the happy emotions. Why are you the person who is always late? And when people agree we are wearing white, you come in orange. I mean, you need to understand why your pattern.
And you got the memo.
Yes. Hey. And the card ilikuwa imeandikwa dress code is white and black. Wewe ukakuja na white na red, because to you red and white works better. It doesn't work well with black.
Right.
And you owe nobody an explanation.
Correct.
You just want to stand out. So when you understand your pattern of behavior, again, because your emotions are stemmed from your stomach.
Yes.
Okay? From your inner being, from your diaphragm. And that means it is coming from who you truly are within yourself, not the picture you portray, not the mask you're wearing, the true nature of who you are.
Yes.
So when you understand those things, you're able to interpolate your emotions and you're able to know why your emotions drive you a certain way.
Yeah.
And when you come into terms with your emotions, then you become aware of your thoughts. So it's not really something that is one thing like this.
Yes.
You become aware of your thoughts. To be a little bit spiritual, which I avoid a lot, the Bible says that you should take captive of your thoughts.
Yes.
Take captive. Look at the choice of words. Take captive of your thoughts.
Correct.
Because from the abundance of your heart, your mouth will speak. So you see the connection between your emotions and your thoughts and who you are, they come together and they form you into being.
Absolutely.
All right?
Yes.
So when you're aware of these things, when you develop that self-awareness, when you become in tune with yourself, you start now becoming. The process of becoming. The process of becoming is spiritual growth, emotional growth, financial growth,
Yes.
physical growth. Those things, the elements of life now begins, the wheel of life now begins to work for you because you're aware of what you're doing and why you're doing it.
Yes.
And then you start working on that journey.
Hey,
Oh, yes.
that's very interesting. That's the very, very important things.
Yes.
And I love the way you're always passionate about self-awareness.
Oh,
'Cause
yes. Yes. Because without self-awareness, let me tell you, oh my God, you can be a terrible person.
You can.
And you've sold yourself the gospel that you're a good person. All right? You can even be generous.
Yes.
And you extend such generosity to the people who you love and you like. And even strangers. But you're such an obnoxious person when you're doing it. All right? People say you're generous to a fault. But they don't like you.
Yeah.
They only invite you when they need something from you. So it means when you're being generous, you're not giving it from a point of happiness and
Yes.
kindness and love and empathy and fullness. You're just giving because you can and you have, and people refer to you by your name and they recognize you.
Hey, that's deep.
No.
That's
So
very deep.
self-awareness is very...
It's very key. I
It's
love
very
that.
key.
I
Yes.
love that. Now let's go straight into the relationships. Yes.
Oh, yes.
When it comes to emotional intelligence, somebody probably is going to ask, what are some of the common challenges that people face in relationships that require you to employ emotional intelligence? There's so many things. I want you to bottle it down. To break it down for us. The challenges that require you, lazima you employ emotional intelligence. Say, by the way, we're not compatible. I'm done. I'm going home. I cannot. You're a narcissist. You're everything I don't want in a man or a woman. I am out. What are some of these challenges?
One of them is conflict, what we call family wrangles or disputes.
Okay.
And in every relationship, there has to be a conflict. There has to be. You cannot go on a journey together unless you are at loggerheads with each other.
Okay.
If you're in a relationship with someone who you don't conflict with, both of you, one of you or both of you is deceptive to the other. There has to be conflict. When there's a revolution or there's a change, there has to be conflict.
There has to
All
be.
right?
Yes.
So one of the main things in a relationship that will teach you whether you have emotional intelligence or not
Yes.
is conflict. Happy times, everybody is lovey-dovey, everybody is okay, nobody has any problem with anybody until there's a conflict.
It
there's
emerges.
a disagreement. There's the idea you have and the idea that I have. And because human beings, we are built to be selfish. We are designed that way. We are created like God, and God is a selfish man. So our inner being is selfish. We are centered within ourselves. So you have the emotional intelligence when you're able to step away from your default setting,
Yes.
which is selfishness,
Yes.
and look at the situation with an outside eye, and look at it, analyze it objectively, and then address it from a point you are responding and not reacting. There's a time I told you there's a difference between a response and a reaction.
Correct.
A reaction is driven by emotion.
Yes.
A response is driven by thought.
Yes.
You've sat down, you've looked at the situation, you've analyzed it, you've jogged your mind around it, you've even discussed it with the person, and you've realized this is where the issue is. So in order for me to address this issue, how do I go about it?
Yes.
And you draw a roadmap on how you're going to resolve it.
Okay.
All right?
Yes.
So if you're in a relationship with someone and you don't have the capacity to do that, then you lack emotional intelligence. If you're in a business setting and a client calls you and they're shouting at you and you're shouting back, You know, because you're feeling they came at me.
Yeah.
So I went for them.
Hey, you go down, I pick a shovel.
Yes.
I go to hell.
I bury you start
what
it,
do you
I
mean?
finish it. You know, Kenyans, we are very good at finishing. You start, we finish.
True.
Ukituanzia tunakumalizia.
Ai, kwani
We
iko
are
nini?
ready for war.
I serve you the same energy.
Yes. And even sometimes multiple. That is lack of emotional intelligence.
Yes.
If any situation in your life that calls for you to deal with a certain thing, you always go back to your default setting,
Yes.
which is selfishness, self-centeredness. I want this. This is the way it must go.
Yeah.
Then you're somebody who is struggling with emotional intelligence.
Absolutely. I want you to hang in there. All right. We come back in just a bit, play some music. And of course, if you have any questions, you're in a situation